in Sri Lanka, electric cars run on diesel. We all know the main foreign exchange earner for Sri Lanka is the remittances. So the 3.4 billion comes from the developed countries, from the migrants. We as a nation, it is actually tragic. Our people have to go. If we have a plan, if we tap this resource, this is a totally untouched resource. We don't have to sell national assets.
Rise and shine.
Welcome back to Rise and Shine. You're with your favorite morning show, and we are on the last half an hour of our program. It's past 7 o'clock, and we have a very interesting personality to discuss about a quite current and pertinent topic today, and this is Mr. Bandula Abeysinghe, who is also an attorney at law, and he is the CEO of Zenith Immigration Inc. Canada, and he's a regulation Canadian immigration consultant who will be talking about a very controversial and much talked about topic, which is immigration, and we'll be discussing about the so-called, how do I say this, taboo around the topic, and how there are a lot of misconceptions, circulating this idea, and how in the proper light, in the correct light, it is quite an important resource and investment for us as a country. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning.
Well, let's start with the idea of immigration first.
Yes, immigration actually is people moving from their country of birth to some other country, mainly looking for better opportunities. Let me begin with something different. I want to relate that to this immigration and its benefits and losses to the country. Now, if we talk about an electric car, and we all know our perception is electric car is actually a benefit. It saves money, it saves the environment. Actually, in reality, in Sri Lanka, electric cars run on diesel. I mean, I am talking not about the hybrid cars. Yes. I am not talking about the hybrid. Total 100% electric cars. The reason being, in Sri Lanka, actually, we have this power problem, power shortage. Now, only 23% of power is produced through hydro power generation, and 37% from diesel powered plants, and another 40% from coal power. So in reality, electric cars burns diesel. Now we think electric cars save money and save the environment, but we burn diesel to run the electric car. Now in reality, actually, petrol cars are better than the electric car. Now, why I told about this is we have lot of misconception, myths, perceptions that are not right. So the truth and the reality, the reality and the perception may be different. Now, when it comes to migration, let me give you the statistics about the foreign remittances to Sri Lanka. Okay. We all know the main foreign exchange earner for Sri Lanka is the remittances, the people sending money. Who are sending this money to Sri Lanka? If I ask anybody this question, almost everybody would say the people working in the Middle East. Let me give you the statistics. In 2017, Sri Lanka received about 7.2 billion US dollars as remittances. Out of this, only 52% came from the Middle East, that is 3.7 billion. The balance, the rest of the money came from the countries other than the Middle East. That is about 3.4 billion, so basically half.
The 48% came from
47%, 48% came from countries other than the Middle East. So this is against, I mean, again, this is not the perception. I mean, we all think
the reality.
Almost all the money comes from the Middle East. Now, actually, the money coming from now this relates to migrants. The most of the money, other money, like about 3.4 billion, 3.7 billion comes from the Middle East. Most of the 3.4 billion comes from the developed countries, from the migrants. Now, with the money coming from the Middle East, there's a huge social cost. So the families are separated, and children are wasted, and every day we can. I saw on Sunday, Sinhala is a main newspaper, on page 3, they are talking not only that. Every day in the papers we can see sad stories about this. But the migrants, the money migrants are sending, because they live with the families. There is no social cost. Now, now it is a fact that migration is a brain drain. That is true. But for a country like ours, now it has become actually an essential income. Now, if we just imagine if we brought all those immigrants back to Sri Lanka, what would happen? We would lose about $3 billion that is coming from them. Not only that, actually it is a double jeopardy situation. We will have to send more and more mothers to the Middle East to cover that loss actually. Other than that, we have to get foreign loans, otherwise, either we have to send more mothers at a huge social cost, or otherwise we have to get foreign loans. And actually, I have seen some newspaper reports. Every citizen in Sri Lanka is indebted to the world about 417,000 or some more than that amount. So in a country like this, I mean, all the political parties, I mean, everybody is in agreement that we have this foreign debt problem. In that context, I am talking about. Brain drain is not a good thing, but in that context, we need this kind of money coming from the migrants, actually skilled people. If we say a housemaid, as I said, at a huge social cost, if she is sending about 50,000 rupees to Sri Lanka, a skilled person employed in a country like Canada or US or UK, they will be sending much more money. Actually, they are sending money to their parents, to relations. They visit Sri Lanka, they donate to Sri Lanka. That kind of more positive money and more clean money coming from the migrant side. Because of that, I think we, as a nation, it is actually tragic. Our people have to go. I myself is a migrant actually, but I have come back to Sri Lanka. I am now doing something back to the country. And another thing, before I go back to that thing. Now, think about exports or in industries, tourism. Now there's a cost of production. The money remitted by the migrants and even the temporary workers, there's no cost of production. And the other thing, if we bring all those back to Sri Lanka, we have to give them jobs. We have to give them education, their children. We have to give them health care, roads, resources. So
which is more cost for us.
Exactly.
The resource distribution as well, because more people come, the influx of more people, then the exhaustion of resources is higher within the country.
Exactly.
And also getting to know that even to compensate for the brain drain, besides the cash inflow, what is the other investment we get as a country from skilled migrants?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Now, this is actually a very hidden thing. Now, I'll give you 2 examples. Now, I have this paper cutting. This is about 3 brothers who migrated to Canada setting up a plant in Mirigama processing zone. Actually, they are from the north. They went to Canada in 1983, but now they are doing an international business in the Mirigama, I think, free trade zone. Now, another example, the Glenrock Hotel in Beluhulle. Now, it has only 10 rooms. Now, they are catering to only the high-end market, and 90 or 95% are foreigners. In a very small village, without damaging the social fabric, that has been developed to attract foreign investments. So, these are smart ventures. Now, both these ventures are operated and invested by migrants. Actually, this the Glenrock, I have been developing this as a model for tourism, not to attract the money that circulates within Sri Lanka. We are targeting the foreigners, and we are giving with only 10 rooms. Now, when this venture operates at the optimum level, the income we project is about $600,000 every year. Now, if you take now even the three brothers I mentioned about coming from Canada, setting up, they also are doing something like. There are other isolated examples like that. Now, if I speak about this in particular about the Glenrock in Beluhulle, now $600,000. If we have thousands of migrants abroad. Now, I myself is a migrant. Now, I have come back and I have invested, I am doing something for the country. Like that, if we have a plan, if we tap this resource, this is a totally untouched resource. Rather than we are complaining about brain drain, if we realize this potential, say 10,000 people like this coming into Sri Lanka and setting up smart ventures.
Different ventures.
Smart
covering
ventures.
a lot of areas.
Exactly. Not the hotels.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll give you some examples of smart ventures. Let me give the math. $600,000 into 10,000 small ventures. This is not a big venture. 10-room hotel is $6 billion. This is almost the money all the foreign workers are sending to Sri Lanka. This is more than the money we earn through tourism. Now there is a question now. What is a smart venture? Smart ventures, now let me give you an example. I met a foreigner. He was sitting next to me on the airplane, and I happened to talk to him, and he was telling, I'm going to Sri Lanka, this is my 19th time or whatever. I am actually going to we are doing mining graphite. So only thing I knew about graphite was when we studied in school, we had a subject called Rate Sampat, right? So in that we knew Kahata Gahapatala, Bo Gahapatala. That's all I knew. And I knew that in the pencils we use graphite. Now in this conversation, I learned so many things. He said, actually, this graphite in Sri Lanka is called actually very refined graphite. It's the best quality graphite we have in Sri Lanka. We sell them as raw material. Then they take it, they buy it, I think about $1,500 per ton. Now he said they process it and they use it. I asked, what are you using this graphite for? In the lithium batteries, in the airplane engines, in jets and some other like smart things. Now they are using this graphite. They develop it into process through mechanical processing. They develop it. Now once they have developed it, they sell it for $9,000 per ton, about 6 times higher than the money we are getting. Now, then comes the question whether we have that knowledge. They are also actually the migrant community. Now we are exposed. The migrants, we have a lot of. I have been actually in this operate in this Zenith Immigration for 19 years. We are the pioneer immigration law firm. We have a lot of people, we have a lot of friends, a huge network. I know how knowledgeable these people are because they were exposed to the world, developed world. Now, when I happened to get a personality from a TV channel to my hotel, and he said he didn't know that I was a migrant. He said, this after talking to me, he learned that I was a migrant. Now he said, I can see actually I saw something different in this because that is your exposure to the world. So this now graphite making $1,500 ton, we are selling raw material, making it into $9,000. We can use our own migrants. We don't need foreign experts. Yeah. So this is why I am telling this is a highly untapped, unknown, hidden treasure.
It's an interesting cycle. I mean, you start as a local and you go to the foreign country, you learn something out of a new country. It's an interesting cycle. It's a very important cycle.
And also the new kind of concepts, the technology we bring in, the new ways of thinking we bring into the country is also something that reinforces a lot of things that could happen here as well. So that's something very interesting. Not just thinking about the cash inflow and not thinking about just the money perspective, but just think about all the other intangible.
It's actually like a long-term investment in that sense. I mean, you talk about it because what you mentioned is that the cash flow, it's quick cash. It's bound to go off, and then it keeps coming in, but then again it's at a slow pace. And it's not a future investment. But if you can pick in a different way and make that long investment, it's going to be benefit us for I don't know, thousands and thousands of years to come.
That's true, and then with that, definitely that's something for you to look forward to. Yeah. And with that, we want to thank you so much for joining with us on the show and for kind of enlightening us with this valuable information. Because this is something that a lot of people don't look into as much. This is something very indirect, very underlaid, kind of an influence that we have by foreign employment. So this is something to think about. This is one way you can serve your country by being far away from home. So something to look into. So much of exciting things happening.
And not something that should be discouraged and shunned and not talked about.
That's true.
Because it's going to be the future. And if you make a good investment and a good...
Let me tell just one thing. Now, remember I mentioned $600,000 we earn from this one smart venture, small one. If we get 10,000 people, we can do that. As I said, we have the network, but they need the conducive environment for that. That is $6 billion every year. $6 billion into 11 years is $66 billion. It is our foreign debt. We can settle the whole foreign debt by utilizing this potential actually. Yeah. We don't have to we don't have to sell national assets.
And we don't have to get more loans to cover that amount. So
exactly.
It's gonna be, the cycle can be broken.
Exactly.
The vicious cycle can be broken.
So hopefully the next decade will be somewhere where we'll be improvising into this untapped potential we have. And with that thought, is it time for us to wrap up?
It is time for us to wrap up, and it was a very informative, a very enlightened discussion. I think that everybody should be taking very, very seriously. And it's quite a change for a Wednesday morning, because we usually bring this artist and artistic personality. While it's important, it's important to know that there are other personalities out there who's really, really in the crux of the matter, helping us out and developing our country and bringing something back into our country with the experience. This was Mr. Bandula Abeysinghe, attorney at law, and he's a regulated Canadian immigration consultant who is the CEO of the Zenith Immigration Inc. Canada, who enlightened us for half an hour. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
For coming on the show. And with that, it's time for Hiroshi and I to say bye-bye on this beautiful Wednesday morning. Have a good day. Have a productive day. Have an enlightened day. And we're going to see you tomorrow, same time.
Goodbye.